Hey everyone, today I want to share some strategies for how to make decluttering more fun. Because I definitely think that while a lot of us want to pursue minimalism, maybe sometimes the decluttering piece is a bit of a barrier. It feels like such a burden, like it's such a huge chore. And sometimes when we're in the middle of decluttering, we can feel overwhelmed. I think decluttering in general is a really emotional process. Often a lot of guilt or regret or fears come up while we're in the process of going through our stuff. And so if we can make it a more pleasurable experience, I think it'll increase our motivation to declutter and it'll ultimately help us get closer to minimalism. Hi, if we haven't met before, I'm Aylin, and this is my channel, Slice of Light. If you want to watch more videos on simple living, minimalism, living more intentionally, and building an empowering mindset, then hit the subscribe button below, and you can also like the video if you end up enjoying it. So the first thing I do to make decluttering more fun is to make it into an activity that I can do with a partner or a friend. Sometimes I'll check in on my overall big picture progress with my mom or my sister, and I think doing those check-ins get us excited about it. We'll talk about what we enjoyed, what was challenging, and just kind of that bonding experience of talking about the process of decluttering is actually really enjoyable. And so I think that makes the actual process of decluttering fun. Then as well, I've done things where I've decluttered alongside my husband. We've done it together. And I think that turns it into an activity, something where we can interact, joke around as we declutter, look at things and reminisce about times we remember as we get rid of those items. I think making it an event or something you can talk about with friends and family can just make the whole decluttering process way more fun. Also, doing it with a partner or talking about it with people around you will help keep you accountable and on track in the decluttering process. Sometimes there are things that my sticky brain wants to keep that my husband kind of reminds me why we don't need it. And so I think that can really be helpful too in streamlining the decluttering process. Another thing I do is add a little bit of something to make the actual process more fun. Now, honestly, in an ideal world, all the books tell you that you should really just focus on the act of decluttering while you're doing it, not have other distractions, because then you'll be able to really hone that decluttering muscle and not have distractions make the process slower. But that being said, after many hours and many sessions of decluttering, sometimes I just get a little bit bored, if I'm honest with myself. And so something I've done sometimes is put on some music that kind of is energetic and gets me going, or listen to a really interesting or fun podcast that allows me to work longer than I think I would otherwise, because sometimes I just get bored or burnt out. But if I add something that I can listen to, it can just increase my motivation and make the actual process of decluttering way more fun. I think if you are going to add that element, I'd recommend doing some declutters first where you're just focused on the process so that you've kind of developed that skill about discerning what you should keep and what you shouldn't. But as you develop the skill of decluttering more and more, using some of these distraction techniques to keep you on track, I think can actually be of benefit, depending again on your personal style of decluttering, your preferences, and your process. I think another great way to make decluttering more fun is to inject rewards along the way. So once you get, say, a certain room done or a certain closet, maybe there's some kind of celebratory reward that you can have. And it can be something simple like having a dinner date with your partner or spouse. It can be just as simple as having a relaxing night the next night where you're allowed to not have to do anything or any chores. Maybe it's going out to dinner or finding some other way to celebrate, but figuring out specific goals and specific steps you want to have along the way, and then building in planned rewards can get you motivated and excited to keep going even when it gets tough. Another thing I try to do to make the whole decluttering process more fun is to make sure that I'm doing decluttering at a time when I'm not extremely stressed about other things that are going on in my life. I want to make sure that I have most of my other to-dos for the day done, or at least that I have time set aside in the future to do them, or that I'm just not worried about other things. Make sure that you're stepping into the decluttering process, having accomplished some other things in your day, or at least, addressing if there's something hanging over your head, I think it's going to be hard to focus on the decluttering process if you're stressed about something. So just address those other stressors. One way to do this also is to just really schedule in decluttering time. So even if there's other stuff you have to do, just designating that chunk of time for decluttering can allow you to free yourself of those other worries. Like, okay, I plan to have these 2 hours focused on decluttering, and so I don't need to worry about those other things. And so just making sure that you're setting yourself up for success by not having other things hanging over you while you're decluttering can increase the likelihood that you can actually enjoy the process. I also make sure that when I'm going to declutter, I've eaten recently, I've gotten good sleep the night before, and that it's at a time of day or in a situation where I do still have energy and motivation. I think if we leave decluttering till like right before bed or right after we've had a really, really long, hard day, often because of maybe decision fatigue or other stressors from the day or just physically being tired, we won't be as good at decluttering and getting rid of a higher percentage of stuff, because I think there is this emotional toll, this emotional burden of the process of decluttering. And so if we don't have the emotional, mental, physical energy for this process, we're just not going to do as good of a job. And so often what I'll do is I'll have my time for decluttering be in the morning on the weekend or at a time when I have energy and I know that I'm going to be able to focus on it and actually put the work and the emotional labor in to get rid of a higher percentage of my stuff. It not only makes me more successful at actually decluttering more stuff, but it makes the experience more enjoyable because I'm not like physically drained and overwhelmed while I'm decluttering. I also think putting a time limit on decluttering can help me speed up the process a bit more, as well as make it feel less burdensome by saying, you know what, I'm only going to declutter for 1 hour today, say, or even if it's like 20 minutes, if that's all you can handle. Having a limit makes the whole process feel more handleable and makes it more fun. The final thing I do to make the whole decluttering process more enjoyable is I envision what my life will look like when I finally accomplished the declutter and gotten to that next step in that journey towards minimalism. I think envisioning how much less stressful, how much lighter I'll feel can really help motivate me and keep me excited throughout the process of decluttering. I think envisioning how it'll affect my life, what my space will also look like, can give me that boost of motivation to keep going and to make the whole process more enjoyable. I think in general, positive psychology kind of indicates that when we focus on the positive and bring our attention to the positive and pay more attention to, say, our accomplishments with decluttering, instead of focusing on our guilt over, oh, I could have done this better, I think can actually make us feel better and have the whole process be more enjoyable. The more we can really focus and hone in on that positive, the more we'll feel positive. And then I think it can also become a positive loop where as you make the process more enjoyable, you'll be more motivated, you'll do a better job, and you'll feel a better sense of accomplishment as you move forward in your minimalism journey. If any of you guys have ideas for how to make the decluttering process more fun, please feel free to share in the comments below. I'd love to read those ideas. I'm not always the best at responding to every comment. I try to do it, but sometimes it gets to be a lot, but I swear that I really appreciate the comments and it really gets me thinking and motivated in my decluttering journey. This actually connects to my first point about like connecting with other people through the decluttering process. I think even reading your comments makes the decluttering process more enjoyable for me, so I'd love to hear your perspective. And if you ended up liking this video, hit the thumbs up, you can subscribe below. And that's all I've got for you today, but thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.